In the early 20th century, Iran stood at a crossroads between tradition and modernity. After years of political instability, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi rose to power in 1941, becoming Shah of Iran following the abdication of his father. From the beginning, his vision was clear: to transform Iran into a modern, powerful nation. Oil revenues fueled rapid development. Cities expanded. Universities grew. Western influence became visible in clothing, education, and lifestyle. To many, this era symbolized progress, ambition, and national pride. Yet beneath the surface, modernization moved faster than society itself. While infrastructure advanced, political power became increasingly centralized. The Shah ruled not only as a monarch, but as the central decision-maker of Iran's future. In the 1960s, the Shah launched what became known as the White Revolution, a series of reforms aimed at land redistribution, women's voting rights, education expansion, and economic growth. Supporters viewed these reforms as necessary steps toward progress. Critics, however, saw disruption. Traditional structures were weakened. Rural populations migrated to cities. Economic inequality widened. At the same time, political opposition was tightly controlled. Intelligence agencies monitored dissent. Political parties lost influence. While Iran appeared stable from the outside, frustration grew quietly inside homes, mosques, universities, and workplaces. The gap between the state and society widened, not overnight, but steadily. Religion remained deeply rooted in Iranian identity. Many clerics and religious leaders viewed the Shah's policies as an erosion of cultural and spiritual values. Among them was Ayatollah Khomeini, who openly criticized the monarchy and its close relationship with Western powers. His opposition led to exile, but his message continued to spread. Cassette tapes, sermons, and word of mouth carried ideas across borders. Resistance was not unified. It included religious groups, leftists, nationalists, students, and workers. What connected them was not a single ideology, but shared dissatisfaction. The opposition did not yet march together, but it listened together. By the late 1970s, economic pressure intensified. Inflation rose. Corruption became a common accusation. Public trust weakened. Protests began small, then multiplied. Demonstrations filled streets. Each response fueled the next wave. Security forces attempted control, but momentum had shifted. Millions participated across social classes. Workers, students, religious followers, and ordinary citizens shared public space. The movement gained rhythm, timing, and visibility. What began as opposition became a national uprising. The state still had power, but legitimacy was slipping through its hands. The movement gained rhythm, timing, and visibility. What began as opposition became a national uprising. In January 1979, the Shah left Iran, officially for medical treatment. For many, his departure symbolized the end of an era. Weeks later, Ayatollah Khomeini returned from exile, greeted by massive crowds. Power structures collapsed rapidly. The monarchy dissolved. The old system no longer functioned. Institutions shifted. Authority changed hands. The revolution had succeeded, but the future was uncertain. What would replace the Shah was not yet fully defined, only that the past would not return. Authority changed hands. The revolution had succeeded, but the future was uncertain. What would replace the Shah was not yet fully defined, only that the past would not return. The Islamic Republic of Iran was established soon after. New laws, new leadership, and a new identity emerged. Supporters saw independence and moral renewal. Critics feared restriction and loss of freedoms. History did not pause. It continued, shaped by choices, conflicts, and consequences. The Iranian Revolution remains one of the most influential political transformations of the 20th century. It was not a single moment, but a process, built by ambition, resistance, belief, and uncertainty. Understanding it requires listening to all voices, not choosing sides, but learning how history unfolds when power and society collide. In November 1979, the relationship between the new Islamic Republic and the United States reached a breaking point. A group of Iranian students, fueled by revolutionary fervor, climbed the walls of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. What was intended as a brief protest became a 444-day standoff. 52 American diplomats and citizens were taken hostage, a move that would define global politics for years to come. The crisis dominated international headlines. The world watched as diplomacy failed and economic sanctions were imposed. For many in Iran, the embassy became a symbol of resistance against foreign influence. The standoff tested the limits of international law and sparked a deep-seated enmity that would persist for decades. The past was gone, and the future of Iran's place in the world was now fundamentally altered. In the early 1980s, Iran embarked on a profound transformation of its intellectual and cultural landscape, known as the Cultural Revolution. Universities became the central battleground for this new national identity. Academic institutions were temporarily closed as curricula were rewritten to align with revolutionary and Islamic values. Thousands of books were reviewed, and educational structures were fundamentally altered. The goal was to create a new generation of students whose education was rooted in the principles of the new republic. This period saw a significant shift in the role of the intelligentsia and the state's influence over academic life. Committees were formed to oversee the purification of educational and cultural institutions. The process was both sweeping and controversial, leaving a lasting mark on Iran's social and intellectual fabric. The Cultural Revolution was not just about education. It was an attempt to redefine what it meant to be Iranian in the post-revolutionary era, shaping the country's cultural direction for decades to come. As the institutions eventually reopened, the legacy of this period remained a subject of deep reflection and debate, a testament to the complexities of a nation in transition. In September 1980, the already tense relationship between Iran and its neighbor, Iraq, escalated into a full-scale invasion. The Iran-Iraq War began, a conflict that would become one of the longest and deadliest conventional wars of the 20th century. The war triggered a massive national mobilization. Thousands of young volunteers, known as the Basij, joined the regular armed forces to defend the revolutionary state. The conflict became a trial of endurance and a powerful symbol of national sacrifice and unity. Urban life was fundamentally altered as cities became targets. Blackouts, sirens, and the resilient spirit of the civilian population defined this era. The war's impact reached into every home, mosque, and workplace across the country. Economically and strategically, the conflict centered on vital industrial and oil facilities. Both nations sought to cripple the other's ability to sustain the war effort, leading to profound long-term consequences for the region's stability and economy. The front line shifted through years of grueling trench warfare and costly offensives. The 8-year struggle would leave a deep mark on Iran's identity and its place in the world, shaping the revolutionary state's future in ways that still resonate today. As the war eventually came to an end in 1988, the legacy of those 8 years remained a subject of profound reflection and national memory, a testament to the enduring impact of a nation forged in the crucible of conflict. Following the end of the Iran-Iraq War in 1988, Iran entered what became known as the Reconstruction era. The nation faced the monumental task of rebuilding its cities, infrastructure, and industrial capacity after 8 years of grueling conflict. Economic challenges, including high inflation and the need for structural reform, defined much of the 1990s. The transition from a wartime economy to one focused on development and growth required difficult choices and significant national effort. Socially and culturally, this period saw a shifting landscape as the population adjusted to the post-war reality. Resilience and a collective drive for progress remained central to the Iranian spirit during these transformative years. Government policies increasingly focused on privatization and integrating Iran into the global economy. These efforts sought to stabilize the nation and lay the groundwork for a more prosperous future in the new century. The economic legacy of the Reconstruction era continues to influence Iran's development today, a period marked by both significant achievement and enduring challenges in the face of international pressure. As the decade came to a close, the skyline of Tehran served as a powerful symbol of a nation that had successfully navigated the path from wartime devastation toward a new era of modernization and identity. As Iran moved past the immediate Reconstruction era, the 1990s saw a gradual but significant transformation in the country's social and cultural life. Traditional spaces, like the neighborhood tea house, remained vital centers for community and conversation. The arts and culture scene began to experience a quiet revival. Artistic expression, though carefully navigated, found new avenues in galleries, independent cinema, and literature, reflecting the complex and evolving identity of the post-war generation. Everyday life in Iran's growing urban centers was marked by a blend of tradition and modernity. Families gathered in public parks, and the resilient spirit of the people continued to shape the social fabric of the nation during this period of transition. Intellectual and philosophical curiosity flourished on university campuses. This era saw a vibrant exchange of ideas as students and scholars explored new perspectives on society, religion, and the future of the revolutionary state. Iran's deep-rooted cultural heritage remained a source of pride and continuity. The enduring popularity of traditional music and poetry served as a reminder of the historical values that continued to influence the nation's contemporary identity. As the 20th century drew to a close, Iranian society remained a complex and reflective landscape, its enduring spirit and cultural depth continuing to evolve in the face of ongoing change and global influence. In the 1960s, the Shah launched what became known as the White Revolution, a series of reforms aimed at land redistribution, women's voting rights, education expansion, and economic growth. Supporters viewed these reforms as necessary steps toward progress. Critics, however, saw disruption. Traditional structures were weakened. Rural populations migrated to cities. Economic inequality widened. At the same time, political opposition was tightly controlled. Intelligence agencies monitored dissent. Political parties lost influence. While Iran appeared stable from the outside, frustration grew quietly inside homes, mosques, universities, and workplaces. The gap between the state and society widened, not overnight, but steadily.